Hello, and welcome to A Better Morning. I'm Heather Klein. We debate the trending topics in sport from a sports betting point of view. Let's welcome today's panel. Host of Her Story in the Making and co-host of Lightning Round, Britt Flynn. Head of content of Fantasy Alarm and award-winning host on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, Howard Bender. Lead NFL analyst of Fantasy Alarm, Andrew Coop Cooper. Mr. Fantasy Exec himself, Corey Carson. Welcome, everyone.
Morning.
How's everyone doing today?
Awesome.
Excellent.
Hold on. It looks like the award-winning Howard Bender is taking a call.
Yeah. Okay. Corey, everybody called. They said, give me my swag back, please.
Yeah, good luck.
Morning, kids. How's everyone doing today?
Excellent.
Just deciding where to spend my Vlad Guerrero home run derby money because there's so much of it available. Probably get another pair of sunglasses for the desk here.
What a way to start the morning, guys. Tonight is the MLB All-Star Game in Seattle for the first time in 22 years. The American League is looking to earn their 10th straight win. Yankees' Gerrit Cole gets to start for the AL, and Zach Gallen with the Diamondbacks represents the NL. The American League is a minus 115 favorite, and the National League is the minus 105 underdog. Or plus 105 underdog. Sorry about that, guys. Are you all in on the AL, or do you see the NL breaking the streak? Howard, what are your thoughts?
I mean, this is definitely a tight one, and I love both lineups here. I think I'm going to give the edge to the American League, and it has nothing to do with the home field advantage of it being in Seattle. It has everything to do with the starting pitching. I love what the National League is bringing to the table here with Gallen and Strider, but beyond that, there's a lot of inexperience and a lot of question marks. The American League, Shohei Ohtani, Gerrit Cole, Luis Castillo, Sonny Gray, Nathan Eovaldi, and Kevin Gausman. That right there, 6 unbelievably rock-solid starters. Yes, does every starting pitcher have their ups and downs? No problem. But in the National League, Mitch Keller, first time. Justin Steele, first time. Bryce Elder, first time. Josiah Gray, first time. These guys are there to absorb the energy and have some fun. I think there'll be a little bit of jitters there for them. So give me the AL.
I guess I'll just go ahead on this one and give Howard a verbal retweet that'll make him feel good to get his day started. You know what I'm saying? If I wager on this contest, I'm going to go for the American League because I root for the Yankees. You know what I'm saying? But I need to tell you all about Howard Bender and how before this program started, he referenced an obscene gesture to the fantasy executive. You know what I'm saying? This thing with Howard Bender is it's like the All-Star Game, but I'm the American League and he's the National League. It's been years since he's beat me. You know what I'm saying? So I always come in as the favorite. Howard tries his best. So this verbal retweet that I'm giving him today should make him feel some kind of way. But kids, get with the fantasy executive and you'll be a winner, unlike Howard the Duck.
I'm not going with verbal retweets today. So I guess this would be a quote tweet or a subtweet or whatever the mean version is, because I'm taking the NL here. I look at this 10-year streak, and it's a bit fraudulent. If you really think about it, the AL's had the DH this entire time. They've had better hitters. I mean, that's a big reason why they've won more World Series. I think now that the DH is universal, the odds are a little more even here, and I'm willing to take the extra juice that you get on the NL versus the AL because I truly think it is an exhibition game that no longer matters for who gets home field advantage. Just a bit more of a toss-up than before. So I think the odds should be a lot closer to a toss-up than favoring the AL because of historic precedence or whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm with Coop. I'm leaning NL, and not just because they're loaded with Braves and Dodgers, but because I kind of like their pitching better on that side. Sure, they're young, but I mean, they have the edge. Also, this is kind of like Little League and Pee Wee football where everybody gets a chance. So the roster is so stacked on the NL side. Gerrit Cole is also pitching on just 2 days rest. He wasn't even going to start today, but he's like, no, I'm going to go. So that is a little bit of a red flag. Ohtani's still dealing with the blister. And although it shouldn't affect his hitting too much, it's not going to make things any easier for them. They've got Corey Seager and Josh Young, but I mean, the AL's roster is solid from an overall standpoint. The NL is stacked with home run hitters. And in the end, isn't that what this game is all about, is hits?
Well, I don't even know if there's like that much need for a debate here on this one here. Obviously, Corey and I are right. Britt and Coop are completely wrong. And I mean, that's just the way it goes. And the fantasy executive wants to air our personal dirty laundry right here on the show. Dude, I'm going to take you all the way to Tide Country, buddy.
Let's go. Hey, let's go, Howard. You know what I'm saying?
Somebody call TMZ.
I think we're going to need some sort of like a Bettor morning fantasy football league or something like that, just so that the exec and I can come together here and throw some competition down.
I'm down for that. You know what I'm saying? I'm down for that. I think Britt, you know what I mean? She can use a good lesson in fantasy football as well.
Excuse me?
So I'm more than willing.
There we go.
You want to mansplain fantasy to me, Corey? You want to mansplain it to me?
Today's segment of mansplaining.
No, I don't have to mansplain it to you. I'll just show you who the best is. That's it. You know what I'm saying?
Corey's drafting an all SEC team just to go against it.
It's too early to piss me off, and that just happened.
Let's get it. You know what
fantasy
I'm saying?
Exec coming out swinging today.
Firing on all
Let's go,
cylinders.
baby. Let's go.
I'm just waiting for my turn.
Anytime when Scott
Maybe next
Fishbowl,
topic.
when Scott Fishbowl starts, that's when I start getting into fantasy executive mode.
Unleash the beast.
There we go.
Corey, you want to get froggy, baby? Come on, let's jump.
Oh, man.
Wow, we have started the morning on fire right now. This is great. Y'all are cracking me up. Okay, we're at the midway point of the 2023 MLB season, so now's a good time to take a look at the World Series odds and see if there's anything we like. The Braves are currently the World Series favorites at plus 360, with the Rays and Dodgers right behind them at plus 420 and plus 480 respectively. After that, you have the Rangers, the Astros, the Yankees. You keep going down all the way down to Shohei Ohtani and friends at plus 4,500. Who would you be looking to play out of that group? Coop, you're up first.
Well, to be honest, when I look at that group, I kind of want to go outside of it. Like, why in the world are the Angels plus 4,500? I mean, I know those are long shot odds, but they're not even above 500, right? And the injuries are all over the place. They're talking about trading their star player. I am looking at the hottest team in baseball right now, the team in destiny, the team that everyone's talking about. Why can't the Cincinnati Reds plus 5,000 keep their crazy run going here? LA De La Cruz and the gang. It's a lot of fun to watch this team and to bet on the team that comes out of nowhere with the the hot young players and the explosive good times. If I'm going with a deep odds team, I'm not going to bet on the Phillies or the Orioles or the Angels. Give me the Reds.
I'd probably take a long shot on the Yankees myself, you know what I'm saying? But I do want to fix Major League Baseball. I help Major League Baseball right in this spot right here. So, right, everybody talk about this guy Ohtani, this two-way player, right? So I got the problem in how to fix baseball and make Ohtani more popular. You see, when you play both ways, you got to have a cool nickname. Like the best both ways player ever was Deion Sanders, prime time. We don't have no nickname for Ohtani. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He needs a nickname like the Big Show or the Big O or the Big OH or the Babe Ruth fraud, whatever the case may be. If we get Ohtani a nickname like all great two-way players have, then we can see some things go the way of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. I like that.
First off,
Showtime.
you're just wrong because it's Showtime and the Unicorn, so he does have a nickname. But anyway, I'm still leaning the Braves here. They are just too stacked. Acuna's likely going to win NL MVP. Their pitching's good. They've won 20 out of their last 23, including 2 out of 3 at Tampa Bay. The Dodgers, again, are perennial contenders, so they could make a push, but I'm too worried about injuries to their pitching staff. And I'm with Coop. I think Cincinnati is a quiet sleeper since the addition of Ellie De La Cruz. They are red hot, and I can see him making a run the second half of the season. As far as the AL, I'm not touching anyone there. It's way too messy. Nearly everyone is a 4-digit underdog. And when the Angels are still in the running, when they're not even above 500, and Mike Trout is out and Ohtani's banged up, that tells you everything you need to know.
My poor delusional trio next to me here. It's crazy. Corey, come on. Shohei Ohtani. Yes, baseball's got a problem and they need to fix that. The nickname, Britt's right. Showtime, the unicorn, whatever you want to call it. He doesn't need a fancy nickname in order to do that. MLB needs to get their heads out of their asses and actually just start marketing him a little bit more and a little bit better. I think that's something that needs to happen. But why are you people ignoring the Texas Rangers? 4 starters in the offensive side with 1 guy sitting on the bench. They've got starting pitching in there. They're going to make moves at the deadline here, right? They feel burned that they lost DeGrom for the rest of the way. They know they need to make it up in starting pitching. They're going to get either Verlander or Scherzer. They're going to dominate the rest of the way. I love my Yankees. They just don't have the horses to do it. So give me those Texas Rangers at plus 950. The drought is over, Rangers fans. Here it comes.
Yeah, I just
hope
hope
that Verlander, who's throwing dust balls at 40 years old, is that really going to be somebody that you want to bring in and pin your World Series hopes on?
Hey. Old men shooting out dust is not a problem. We don't worry about that now. I don't hear Kate Upton complaining about his dust cloud. What are you doing?
I just want to see like a World Series like the Orioles versus the Reds, or any number of organizations that Corey Parsons called a fraud organization on this show in the past. I want to see 2 of those teams go, so Corey has to pick one of them.
And you won't see nobody watch the World Series if the Baltimore Orioles is playing the Cincinnati Reds. You know what I'm saying?
Right?
I think that would change everything up. I think we've seen dynasties over and over again, and having some fresh blood in the World Series would be good for the sport.
You might be right about the TV ratings, though.
These kids aren't ready for that. And until the Cincinnati Reds can show that they've got at least 2 healthy starters with solid ground ball rates or very strong swing and miss stuff, they're just not going to do it. You know, it's like the problem that the Colorado Rockies had for all that time. They had all these great hitters, phenomenal hitters, but they couldn't pitch their way out of a paper bag. And that's going to be an issue for the Cincinnati Reds. You can't have a home ballpark like Great American and still expect to maintain any kind of home field advantage, because anybody can hit there. The place is a bandbox. It's like Coors Field. So you need to improve that starting pitching to a point where people can't hit those starters.
Well, I'll just do what everybody does this time of year, and I'll just hypothetically put Justin Verlander on their team. There you go.
It's not hypothetical, man. It's not hypothetical. You got to see who's got the money to do it, who's willing to do it, who's willing to just rent somebody. And I'll tell you what, man, as much as I love what the Reds are doing, I don't think the front office is too into renting a player when they know that they've got this core group of youngsters who they're going to have for years and years right now.
Yeah, it's true. It's hard to give up the young blood.
Texas.
It's going to be the Dodgers.
Texas will mortgage the future in order to make that happen.
All right, let's move over to the NFL. MVP odds are stacked in favor of quarterbacks, with the first non-QB, Christian McCaffrey, having the odds of plus 8,000. Should we just start calling it this award the QB award? What are your thoughts, Britt?
So it is a little bit ridiculous. The last time a running back won the award was Adrian Peterson, and that was back in 2012. There have been 10 straight years of quarterbacks, and before that, there was a 5-year gap. If you want to make a special award for quarterbacks, just do it. You're telling me that Cooper Kupp's Triple Crown wasn't worthy of the MVP, and instead Aaron Rodgers got it with 4,100 yards and 37 touchdowns? That's hardly MVP worthy. There's no reason that he should have won MVP over Cooper Kupp. And if we can't win MVP with that, a wide receiver is never going to get it. It's not just recently. No wide receiver has ever won the award. And the last defensive player to win was Lawrence Taylor in 1986. There's something definitely wrong and biased towards quarterbacks with this award. And if that's the case, just make multiple awards.
You have to have a bias towards quarterbacks. I mean, let's face facts. When we look at, betting lines, what moves the needle on betting lines and point spreads? It's when the quarterback is changed or in or out. The definition of MVP is most valuable player. If you take that player off of that team, can that team still succeed at the same level as it did before? And the answer is, when you change out the QB in football, the answer is no. Baseball's a totally different story. It's always like, the guy who gets the stats with like the big home run totals or the big RBI totals, like they give that out because, that's the team sport. But in the NFL, the quarterback drives the bus. The quarterback is the one who leads that team. And therefore that quarterback is likely to be the MVP.
Yeah, so to answer the question that was asked here, I don't think the award should be changed to the QB award. I agree with Howard Bender that MVP itself in this sport implies that. What I think is there should be 3 awards. There should be the MVP, right? That usually goes to a quarterback. There should be Offensive Player of the Year. That's probably going to be a running back, wide receiver, or a tight end. And then they need an award for the best lineman in the league. If a guy like Trent Williams, who arguably is the best offensive player in this league at times, can't win MVP or Offensive of the Year or even get votes at any point, then no one's ever going to win. And if you really think about football, half the kids out there are playing line, more than half, honestly. And you're basically telling those kids that what they do doesn't matter at all. You can't give Trent Williams or Creed Humphrey or one of these guys one of these awards. If you can't do that, then create a new award to honor the best offensive lineman. Call it the Orlando Brown Award or whatever you want to call it. Orlando Jones or call it Anthony Munoz Award, something like that. Pick one of the greats.
The Tony Orlando Award.
Tony Orlando Pace. Plenty of great Orlandos.
If we're going to pick one of the greats, just call it the Fantasy Executive Award.
There you go.
So basically, offensive linemen are fine. When they get their money, they get paid. They like being behind the scenes. Randy Moss probably had the greatest wide receiver season ever when he caught all those touchdown passes from Tom Brady in 2007, and he didn't even finish second. You know what I mean? The award went to Brady almost unanimously. So it is a quarterback award because the quarterback is the most valuable player on the team. The quarterback is the most important player on the team. As a matter of fact, the quarterback in the NFL is the most prestigious position in all the professional sports. But if anybody outside of a quarterback is going to win the MVP award this year, it's going to be Dallas Cowboys' Micah Parsons, because he is the next best player in the NFL, and we'll see that this season.
The last time a defensive player won the award was 1986.
Lawrence Taylor.
There's no way that it's going to be Micah Parsons.
Has anybody come into this league as a defender as good as Lawrence Taylor since Micah Parsons?
I think it's up for debate if Micah Parsons is as good as Lawrence Taylor. And I think that there are a lot of offensive players ahead of him.
Aaron Donald,
the defensive tackle, is in the interior. That's tough. But a pass rushing linebacker who has a D tackle in front of him and Mozzie Smith this year to keep him clean. If the Dallas Cowboys are the number 1 seed in the NFC, which they very well could be, Micah Parsons will be an MVP candidate.
Yeah, and here's the craziest part about that is that it's not even a wild argument, right? Like, it's possible, but Vegas is saying that it's not. I mean, Micah Parsons for MVP has the same odds as Blaine Gabbert. That's where they're putting the quarterbacks here. Yeah, no, that's a fact. Plus 1,500. So if you think not 1,500, 15,000, $100 to win 15,000.
You gotta take that. You gotta take that because Dallas can easily be the 1 seed, and Micah Parsons is the best player on that team. Number 4 is a fraud. He sucks.
Mm-mm.
Yes, he does.
How so?
Because he threw 29 interceptions in 32 games.
Did you watch any film? Did you see how many of those balls bounced off of his receiver's hands?
I never missed a Dallas Cowboy play in my life, Britt. This guy is not a franchise quarterback. He's a fraud. You can't throw that many interceptions and think you can take your team to the promised land. Dak Prescott ain't no good. It's not. I know you're a Cowboy fan. I'm a Cowboy fan too. But we got to tell the truth. Dak Prescott's not a good quarterback. This is the NFC. The best quarterback in the conference is Jalen Hurts. People talking about Jared Goff being second. That's how far Dak Prescott has dropped.
No, I think that people are looking at numbers and not actual gameplay. And you want to say that I hate SEC players. You don't take a team like Mississippi State and be their starter for 4 years and lead them to as many wins as you did with no backing cast. Let me finish, Corey.
Hey,
with no backing cast if you're not a good quarterback. What happened last year was a fluke. He's going to get there again, and he is a good quarterback, and people are going to see it this year.
Howard, can you please pass me some of the popcorn?
Mississippi State plays college football.
Thank you, buddy.
And he wasn't that good in his college quarterback. He wasn't a Heisman Trophy candidate or anything like that. But, Britt, you can't turn the ball over at this rate in back-to-back seasons and sit there and shrug it off like, oh, I got to be better next time. I'm getting sick of this.
I didn't say that. I never said that.
There's no accountability for this guy. After Tony Romo threw interceptions, he went in the locker room and collapsed in Philadelphia. Dak Prescott go to the podium with his funny suits on, talking about I got to be better. Don't nobody want to hear that. This team has been to the NFC Championship game in almost 30 years, and this guy is throwing interception after interception. He ain't that good.
I just want to say one thing, and then we can move on. You said that Tony Romo took accountability and that Dak didn't. What is that saying when he's going to the podium and saying, I have to be better, I have to improve? That's accountability.
That's right. That's not my.
What do you want him to do? Flagellate himself?
No, I want him to play better football. It doesn't make any sense. He got weapons. He got a running game, got the best offensive line. And all he do is turn the football over.
Okay.
I don't know if we could say that he's got the best offensive line. I mean, let's face facts. The Dallas offensive line has taken a pounding in the last 4 or 5 seasons, where we've seen how many times we have to talk about Tyron Smith being out and missing time, and how much that's Dallas.
If healthy on paper, it is one of the best offensive lines.
Look how many Hall of Famers. Tyron Smith is a Hall of Famer. The center is a Hall of Famer. Tyler Smith, the best. Yeah, Zach Martin.
But how many games have they played together, Corey?
Well, that's correct. Cohesion on the O-line is important.
And that affects the quarterback play. It definitely
And his receivers
does.
last year were like Noah Brown and Kevontae Turpin and the ghost of T.Y. Hilton.
And CeeDee Lamb. And
so
he had a weapon in Tony Pollard. You don't need big fancy receivers to win.
Okay. I'm just gonna move on.
I think we can move over to the next topic, and I think it has a lot to kind of piggybacks off what you're talking about. In fantasy football, which player scares you the most to play against this upcoming season? And I'm assuming, Corey, it won't be Dak Prescott.
No.
You're upset.
Maybe he'll be my quarterback too in Scotch Fishbowl. But there's only a couple players in this league that when you go to check your opponent the next week, and you say, man, I might be in for this one. That fear only comes from one thing. That fear comes from speed, because speed kills. And when you see Tyreek Hill on your opponent's team, that's problematic right there. Because Tyreek Hill can catch one pass and have 20 fantasy points, or he can go crazy and go like 13 for 187 and 3 touchdowns. That speed is so dynamic, the way the Dolphins use him. When your opponent on your fantasy week has Tyreek Hill on their roster, you better pack a lunch, buddy, because you're going to be in for a fight, because Tyreek Hill is a guy who can really ruin a fantasy week.
Yeah, he ruins your week at the marina, too.
Yeah, you can.
Well, in the words of the immortal Bone Crusher, I ain't never scared. But for the sake of this argument, I'm going to go with Travis Kelce. His ceiling is so high. Last year, he had 2 finishes over 30 points, and in week 11, he literally outscored everyone, even quarterbacks. I mean, this guy is just so dynamic. He has a great quarterback. The Chiefs still don't have a wide receiver 1, really. We still don't know about Kadarius Toney. So Kelce will still be very prominent in this offense. If I'm playing against him, I'm hoping to have some kind of positional advantage elsewhere, because it takes so much to make up those points. When there's over a 100-point difference between him at tight end 1 and then TJ Hawkinson at tight end 2 at the end of the season, you're in some real trouble.
Man, I miss those days where you're looking at somebody's roster and you're like, LaDainian Tomlinson, Sean Alexander, Terrell Davis. Oh, I'm in trouble this week. The only name that really kind of puts that kind of fear in me is Patrick Mahomes. He goes far too early for me to draft him, so I know that he's not on my team. But let's face facts. It doesn't matter if he's got a wide receiver 1. He's got Travis Kelce. The rest of the guys always fall in line. How many times did Mahomes just put up, 35 plus fantasy points last year? Maybe I'm overstating it. I'll just say over 30 fantasy points throughout the season. The guy does it game in, game out, and he delivers always, and that's problematic if you're going up against him.
Yeah, I'll tell you who the scariest man in fantasy football is, whether he's on your team or whether he's on the other team, and that is Lamar Jackson. This dude, at any given time, we know what he's capable of. In every season, he's been on pace for 1,000 yards. So when you go up against Lamar Jackson, you have to know that in any given week, he's capable of 30 to 40 points, capable of being the MVP of this league. On the flip side, though, this year, he says he's going to throw less, which is going to hurt for fantasy football. And this guy's gotten hurt 2 years in a row because of the way that he plays this game. So whether he's in your lineup, whether he's in your opponent's lineup, this guy is a bad mamma jamma, and he is easily the scariest dude across the board in fantasy football. There's nobody more scary than Lamar Jackson.
It's crazy how like 3 of the 4 players mentioned were attached to the Kansas City Chiefs in some kind of way, with Mahomes, Hill, who's a Dolphin now, and Travis Kelce. The comment about Tony Pollard, right? Can we put that comment on the screen right quick?
No, Cowboys. No. Do not put it on the screen.
No. Because I want to say this. Here's the thing, right? So when Tony Pollard got hurt in that game, the next play, Dak Prescott threw an interception. When somebody gets hurt, the quarterback is supposed to step up. Why didn't he step up? I'm just saying.
I'm going to refute Howard's point, saying that Mahomes only had 4 games over 30 points last year. His deal was that he was consistent, and that's why he was number 1 overall. Without that wide receiver 1, it kind of caps his upside a little bit. Just saying.
Nobody said Jalen Hurts.
Nobody did say Jalen Hurts.
Honestly,
we're all on the regression chain.
Well, yeah, when you look at what Vegas is saying about the Eagles and Jalen Hurts, and especially the wide receivers, not sure if you've seen those lines, but if you like A.J. Brown, there's money to be made. All these other guys are like 1,300. He's at 1,050 yards they're setting him at. So I don't know. There is some concern for regression there. It's just a guy like Lamar Jackson, when Todd Monken comes to town, when he's already been the MVP with Greg Roman, that is a situation where he could light this league on fire once again.
It's all going to depend on.
I know you got a little soft spot for the Ravens, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
It's all going to depend on the health of his receivers, and I just don't know if Odell Beckham and Rashad Bateman can stay healthy. That's going to be the crux of his season if he's not running more.
And I guess they stuck with Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers. I mean, they got weapons now. They got guys. They got horses.
I like Dobbins. I like Andrews, and I think Lamar is the ultimate weapon. Like the ultimate warrior.
Lamar is the one that he needs to stay healthy. He's the one that's missed 5 games in each of the last 2 years. That's what makes him scary for both sides. He's a double-edged sword.
I'm calling it sick tomorrow.
Say that. Let's go. Cowboys. Let's go, baby.
All right. That was today's edition of A Better Morning. Thank you to Britt, Coop, Howard, and the legend, Corey Parson, the fantasy exec. Make sure you check out Moose and Keith at 10 a.m. Eastern. We wish everyone a better day. Take care, guys.